Hello students, today we are going to learn about chemistry of amino acids. So first we should know what do you mean by amino acids. Amino acids are the organic compounds which combine to form proteins. Hence they are referred to as the building components of proteins. These biomolecules are involved in several biological and chemical functions in a human body and are the necessary ingredients for the growth and development of human beings. There are about 300 amino acids which occur in nature. If you see, the amino acids are organic compounds which contain majorly two functional groups. One is the amino group and another one is the carboxyl group. So these are attached. These two groups are attached to a alpha carbon atom. From this, the amino acids are present to make a protein molecule. So these are the biological. These are the protein molecules to make the protein molecules. Here there are about 300 amino acids occur in nature. Only 20 of amino acids are called proteogenic amino acid. What do you mean by proteogenic amino acid? Proteogenic amino acids are nothing but the amino acids which corresponds to synthesize the protein molecules. Those proteins are called proteogenic amino acids. So far 300 amino acids are there. Only 20 amino acids are protogenic amino acids, and otherwise it is called as standard amino acids. Standard amino acids means which are having that ability to synthesize the protein. That's it is called a standard amino acids or protogenic amino acids. Next, we can see the basic structure of amino acid. What are the groups or atoms are to constitute to make an amino acid? That is a basic, or otherwise it is called a general structure of an amino acid. Because it is an organic compound, you may know very well about the organic compound means it contains the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus. These are the basic organic atoms can be constituted to make a biomolecule. So the biomolecules which made by the organic molecules. So what are the atoms are attached to make this biomolecule? So first is the CH group, that's the hydrocarbon. This carbon is called first carbon, that's it is named as alpha carbon. Due to the alpha carbon, it is attached to the hydrogen, that is alpha hydrogen. After this, the amino group, amino group which has been formed or it is attached to the alpha carbon, and next the carboxyl group. These two groups are the major functional groups that are present in the amino acid. One is the amino group and another one is the carboxyl group, where it is attached to the alpha carbon or alpha carbon hydrogen. Where the R group or side chain, it is the variable group. We can say this is a variable group because the amino acids can be classified, or the amino acids will be distinguished between from one amino acid to another amino acid by this R group only. Because the R group has been different for different amino acids. So this is the general structure of an amino acid. In the general structure of amino acid, the amino acid name itself reveals that it contains an amino as well as an carboxyl group and as a side chain group also present in it. Classification of amino acids. How would you classify the amino acids, on what basis the amino acids can be classified? Number one, according to the structure of side chain. So already I said that in a general amino acid, the amino acid which contains the side chain is called R group. Based upon the R group, the amino acids can be classified. So from the classification, we can see amino acids with aliphatic side chains, amino acids containing hydroxy group, amino acids containing sulfur, amino acids and their derivatives. So acidic amino acids and their derivatives means acidic means there is the acid group. One more acid group is present in the side chain of the amino acid. And basic amino acids and their derivatives. It means that already in the general structure, the amino acid contains an amino group, whereas in addition to that side group, it contains a basic group in the side chain. And aromatic amino acids, it what stands that aromatic groups like phenyl or benzene, the groups which can be attached in the side chain of the amino acids. And one more amino acid is the amino acid. Amino acid is nothing but amino and immuno. So this is the one of the very most important difference between amino and immuno. NH2, where the immuno, one of the hydrogen is replaced, so there's the immuno acid is formed. Though these are the types of the amino acids based upon the structure of side chain. So what the side chain carries, which groups carries this group, we can be classified. So one by one we can see name of the amino acid, structure of the amino acid. It has the side group. The side group where you can be reinforcement. This is the general structure HNH2COH, because this is the carboxyl group and NH2 group. All the amino acids carries this is the same, and this is the general structure. It carries all the amino acids is the same thing. Whereas in the side group, which is the H, hydrogen atom, glycine, its symbol it gives glycine, and the CH3 methyl group, alanine, that's the methyl. Isopropyl group, valine is a this is the isopropyl group. So valine, isobutyl group, this is the isobutyl group, and secondary butyl group. This is the secondary butyl group. These are the groups are present in the side chain. That's why it is be classified based upon the or group or side chain group of the amino acids. So valine, leucine, isoleucine, these three amino acids, otherwise it is called as branched chain amino acids. What do you mean by branched chain amino acids? The branched chain amino acids are which having the branches in the side chain. This is just we can see here the from the structure itself. There's the branches. The branches is arised from the alpha carbon. So it is the branched chain amino acids. So these are simple symbol. They are glycine, alanine, valine, and the symbol one letter GAVL. This will shows that. Next, we just move to the amino acids with these are the aliphatic side chains. With the aliphatic side chains, which have these amino acids containing this group in the side chain. And next is the amino acids containing hydroxyl group. So first one is the amino acids containing aliphatic, and second one is amino acids containing hydroxyl group. Where you can view here, there's the hydroxyl group OH and OH and OH. These are the amino acids containing the OH group in the side chain. This is the hydroxy methyl group, one hydroxy ethyl group. Serine and threonine is the two most important group which containing the hydroxy group in the side chain. That's the serine and threonine. What about the tyrosine? It comes under the aromatic also, but this is the phenyl group which are having the OH, because the 4-hydroxy benzyl group, it is the tyrosine. Next classification, amino acids containing sulfur group which in the side chain. So sulfur hydrogen disulfide, this is the only sulfur ether sulfur group. These three amino acids, cysteine, cysteine, methionine, these three amino acids are sulfur containing amino acids, where the cysteine is not an standard amino acids. Due to that, there's two molecules of cysteine, molecules of to form cysteine on oxidation. On oxidation of two cysteine molecules, you can yield cysteine. So this is not a standard amino acid. It can be derived from the cysteine. Can easily derive from the cysteine molecule. So it is a disulfide containing a sulfur-hydryl amino acids. And next is the fourth one, acidic amino acids. You may see here one acidic amino acids and the derivatives. Thus the amino acids here you can view here, these amino acids containing the carboxyl group in the side chain. So already one carboxyl group is present in the general structure. In addition to that, one more carboxyl group is present here. Acid and glutamic acid. The difference is here between these two carboxyl and three carboxyl. So what it means that two carboxyl means one, two, second carbon which constitute or it is attached to the carboxyl group. This is the 1, 2, 3. That the third carbon is attached to the carboxyl group. There's the three carboxyl groups. Those are the acid. And what about this asparagine and glutamate? Asparagine and glutamate is nothing but it derived from the aspartic acid. So that is the OH group as replaced by amino group. So the OH group is replaced by the from aspartic acid you can yield asparagine, glutamic acid, from glutamic acid you can yield the glutamate. These are the two amino acids which contain the amide, whereas this aspartic acid and glutamic acid containing the carboxyl group. So this is the symbol, three-letter symbol: aspartate, asparagine, glutamate, and glutamate. So it's the one-letter symbol DNEQ. Classification based upon the side chain, basic amino acids and the derivatives. What are the basic amino acids? Lysine, arginine, histidine. So lysine is the amino acid which it contains one more basic group in the side chain. So already this is the general structure. You see here this the amino acids are always containing our amino group. So in addition, besides to the amino group, one more amino group is present in the side chain. There's the lysine, arginine, histidine. So what are the groups where specifically we call these side groups called amino group? Because one amino group which forms alpha, beta, gamma, delta, eta. It is other name. It is called eta amino. It means that amino has been attached at the eta carbon of amino. That is the lysine. And arginine is the guanidino group. The guanidino group is this is the guanidino group. It's specified. It having the side group as guanidino group, and this group is called the imidazole group. So the imidazole group, guanidino group, and eta amino group, thus the corresponding to the lysine, arginine, histidine respectively. So next we can see aromatic amino acids. The aromatic amino acids, already the name itself, this the aromatic means this is the benzene group is present, benzene with hydroxyl group, and this is the indole group. So aromatic nature and aromatic groups are attached in the side chain. That's why it is called as aromatic amino acids: phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. So there is a benzyl and 4-hydroxybenzyl and indole group are present in the aromatic amino acid. The last one is the amino acid. Amino acid is nothing but NH. Already all the amino acid which contain in the general structure as NH2 amino, but here proline is the amino acid which contain the amino acid. That's why it is a amino acid. That is a proline. Is the example is the proline, and it's having this group is full. This group is called as pyrrolidine. There's a symbol 3-letter PRO and symbol 1-letter P. Next, we can see the classification based on polarity of the side chain. So just we had seen before side chain of the R group, side chain only, but here based upon the polarity nature. So polarity is nothing but the having the ability to form hydrogen bonds, polarity nature, where the two positive and negative ions can be formed, and moreover it having the ability to form hydrogen bonds. So based upon the polarity, where the first classification we discussed about side chain only. What are the side chains has been present in the side of these amino acids, we can be classified. But this classification based upon the side chain, but based upon, or particularly it is based upon the polarity of the side chain or R group. So non-polar aliphatic amino acids, polar uncharged amino acid, polar positively charged, polar negatively charged, and aromatic amino acids. These are the 5 classification based upon the polarity nature. So one by one we can see now. So based on chemical property, that is the chemical properties means polarity of the R group, there's the polar nature. Non-polar amino acids, amino acids, glycine, alanine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, these are the non-polar. And polar, serine, threonine, cysteine, polar, these are the 6 amino acids, and another one more 6 amino acids are polar. This is the polar but uncharged. These are the amino acids are polar but uncharged. These are aliphatic amino acids, non-polar in nature. These are the aromatic amino acids. That's the phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. Positively charged, we have seen lysine, arginine, histidine, and negatively charged aspartic acid, glutamic acid. So one by one, see if we can see the structure of these amino acids, how it can be easily classified based upon the polarity nature of an amino acid. So the 20 amino acids found in proteins, we already discussed why it is found in proteins means because these are the building blocks of protein molecule. Amino acids are building blocks of protein molecules. So this is the general structure of amino acid. This contain the amino group and it is the carboxyl group, and the R is the variable. Variable means this R group has to be differentiate between one amino acid to amino acid which containing the different functional groups are present in the R group. Based upon this R group, that is in the polarity nature, what the groups are containing, whether it is a polar in nature or non-polar nature. This is the non-polar aliphatic R groups. These are the groups, and polar but uncharged. These aromatic. These are negatively and positively charged. So one by one we can see in the next slide. Non-polar aliphatic R groups. If you see very clearly, it is obviously seen here in this PPT. There is the non-polar aliphatic R groups, nothing but the glycine, which is only the H. It contains the H group. So this one more thing from the glycine you can understand. This is the non-asymmetric carbon atom, which it does not surrounded by 4 different groups. And alanine, proline, valine. Proline, we had seen the pyrrolidine group. This is the pyrrolidine group, and then as well as it is a immuno group because it doesn't contain the amino group. And valine, leucine, isoleucine. These 3 amino acids are branched chain amino acids. Already we have seen. So based upon the R group, if these groups are aliphatic. Aliphatic means aliphatic groups are attached in the side chain in the R group. So these are the how the polarity nature. It is these 6 amino acids are non-polar in nature. So valine, leucine, isoleucine are branched chain amino acid. And what about the methionine? Methionine is containing the sulfur amino acid. This is the proline, alanine, glycine. It's a simple. The glycine is a very simple amino acid, and it is a non-asymmetric carbon atom contains in the glycine. And other than the glycine, all the amino acids contain the asymmetric carbon atom. The next, the classification is the polar but uncharged R groups. So these are the amino acids are serine, threonine. Already we have seen in the side group, it contains the hydroxyl group. Those are 3 amino acids, those are the 2 amino acids, serine and threonine are containing the hydroxyl group, and cysteine is the sulfahydryl group, SH group in the side chain. Because these 6 amino acids, these 5 amino acids are polar but uncharged amino acids. So asparagine and glutamine. The asparagine and glutamine is nothing but the aspartic acid has been the derivative, or it is be derived to form asparagine, where the one more of OH is replaced by amino group. It becomes the amide. Those are 2 amide group amino acids are examples are asparagine and glutamine, where the cysteine is sulfhydryl, threonine. And next, the classification, negatively charged R groups. The negatively charged R groups are aspartate and glutamate. So this is the side chain. The R group where it is a negatively polar but negatively charged. Negatively means it contains one more negative charge. Already there's the general structure containing the negative group. It is to neutralize where it contains in addition to one more addition to the carboxyl group. It contains one more carboxyl group in the side group. So the polarity nature is been a negative charge. That's the two amino acids are aspartate and glutamate. And partially charged R groups are the same. Is just quite opposite to that. Is partially charged R groups means the positive ions is the cation ions are formed in the R group. That is the so it contains a polarity in nature. So this is the histidine amino acid, which it is the imidazole group. This is the guanidino group already inside. Due to this is the amino group. So amino group is alpha, beta, gamma, delta, eta amino group. These are the amino acids based upon the polarity nature, like negatively charged and positively charged amino acids. Next, and in this classification, the amino acid in the side chain, thus it contains the aromatic groups. What are the aromatic groups? Like phenylalanine, tyrosine, and tryptophan. This tryptophan is the indole group, where it is classified under aromatic amino acids, where it is also classified into heterocyclic amino acids also. But these 2 amino acids are purely as aromatic. We see there's the benzene with the hydroxy. This is the phenol group. This is the benzene group. So these 2 amino acids, these 3 amino acids comes based on the aromatic R groups. So next, the classification, third classification, how could you classify the amino acids based on the nutritional requirements? The nutritional requirements, what we are daily taking the nutrition from our food. On the basis of the food, our diet, we can be classified the amino acids as essential or indispensable amino acid, non-essential or dispensable amino acid. The name essential means the requirement of this amino acid is very must to our body system. Otherwise, our body cannot synthesize or to form it won't form protein molecules, because those amino acids are ingredients or building blocks of the protein molecule. Some of the amino acids are from the 20 standard amino acids. The 10 amino acids are essential or indispensable amino acids. Other than the 10 amino acids, those amino acids we cannot take care about that amino acids, because that amino acids can easily synthesized by our body system. So let's now just we can see elaborately what do you mean by essential amino acid means. Those there: arginine, valine, histidine, isoleucine, leucine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan. These 10 amino acids are called essential amino acids. So what do you mean by essential amino acids? Means it is the requirement is very essential. Then why it is essential amino acid? These amino acids cannot synthesize by our body system. So any body system, any living organism cannot synthesize. For example, our human body system cannot synthesize this type of amino acids by our body system, by our own. So that's why we have to be depend upon the diet. That type of amino acids called the essential amino acids, because it must found in what the diet you are taking daily, so that it will give the growth of your growth and structural form of your body, and it regulate body in a proper manner. So these 10 amino acids: arginine, valine, histidine. So how could you remember these 10 amino acids? And it's easily to remember. Mat will fly. So this is methionine, arginine, threonine, tryptophan, valine, isoleucine, leucine, phenylalanine, lysine. These are the 10 amino. From the 10 amino acid, the two more amino acids here I shown in the colored two amino acids are semi-essential amino acids. That is, the one is the arginine and another one is the histidine. This is the arginine and histidine are semi-essential. What do you mean by semi-essential amino acids? The semi-essential means up to the age of children. So up to the children stage, or the infants are up to the children, these two amino acids needed. After in the humans, um, adult stage can occur. So at that time, the body can synthesize these two amino acids. Up to the adult stage, these two amino acids will must, and we have to take from our diet. That one is the arginine and another one is the histidine. That's why it is the semi-essential amino acids. We have given the two stars. There is the arginine and arginine and histidine are the semi-essential amino acids. And what about the non-essential amino acids? Other than these three amino acids, already I said the 20 amino acids. From this, other than the 10 amino acids, the alanine, asparagine, aspartic acid, cysteine, glutamine, glycine, proline, serine, and these 10 amino acids are called non-essential amino acids. We can easily synthesize, our body having the capability to synthesize these 10 amino acids from our body system. That's why we need not to take care about whether our diet contains this amino acid or not. That's why it is simply called as non-essential amino acids. Next, amino acids can be classified. One more type is according to the metabolic fate. So there's the two glucogenic amino acids, ketogenic amino acids, both glucogenic and ketogenic amino acids. What do you mean by glucogenic amino acids? The classification, these amino acids are glucogenic amino acids, glycine, alanine. So for these amino acids, why these amino acids are called from these amino acids? Because the metabolism is nothing but the spectrum of biochemical reactions takes place in our body. So those the reactions taking place in our body. From this, the Metabolism is nothing but anabolism or catabolism. So during this catabolism, the breaking down of these amino acids, those amino acids which contain the organic molecules with the atoms having carbon and hydrogen, so it leads to form glucose, where the catabolize these amino acids to lead to form glucose. That's the synthesis of glucose. That way it is glucogenic amino acids. Where this leucine only one amino acid to catabolize to form the synthesis of ketogenic fat or ketone bodies. Like fat, it forms the ketogenic body. Both phenylalanine, tyrosine, tryptophan, lysine, isoleucine, these amino acids are to form both glucose as well as keto. That's the fat molecules can produce from these amino acids. That's why glucogenic and ketogenic amino acids. Simply we can call as glucogenic means these amino acids can having the ability to synthesize or to break down to form glucose, or these amino acids to break down to form fat, where both glucogenic and ketogenic means these amino acids can form as glucose as well as fat. In addition to 20 amino acids, proteins may contain residues created by modification of common residues. For example, 4-hydroxyproline, 5-hydroxylysine, 6-N-methyllysine. These are the amino acids were formed or modified commonly, were incorporated in a protein molecule. These amino acids to form this 4-hydroxyproline and 5-hydroxylysine means for proline, the proline which is the fourth position with adding the hydroxy group, and this is the 5-hydroxylysine. That's the lysine, the amino acid which having the one more derivative form, a compound with derivative atom is attached, where the methyl group is attached. Some more groups are attached in the amino acid. In addition to the amino acid, some more groups are attached to form the modification of the amino acids. That way it is called the the examples are 4-hydroxy and 5 and desmosine. These are the derivative of 4 lysine residues, 4 lysine amino acids which is joined with a benzene group. These are the non-standard amino acids. So these amino acids are called non-standard amino acids. And selenocysteine is the one of the non-standard amino acid. It is present during protein synthesis rather than created through post-synthetic modification of amino acids. So it means that while during the protein synthesis, it having the modification can occur. So it is the selenocysteine. The cysteine group has been attached to the side chain of the amino group. It forms the selenocysteine. This can now it considered as 21st amino acid. Non-protein amino acids. These are all the set of non-protein amino acids: ornithine, citrulline, arginine, succinic acid, thyroxine, triiodothyronine, SAM, S-adenosine, methionine, so homocysteine, dopa, creatine. These are the non-protein amino acids, because these amino acids not to synthesize the protein molecule, but it having a very significant role in our body system. Like they are intermediates in the biosynthesis of the metabolism, like urea, tyrosine, and biological systems, and some of the methionine risk factor for coronary heart diseases, and neurotransmitters. Some and acts as a neurotransmitter. So they have a significant role in the human system, but it doesn't to synthesize the protein. So this is the non-protein amino acids. Next, non-alpha amino acids. All the amino acids which contain the alpha group, but these amino acids having beta carbon which is attached the side group, like beta alanine, beta amino isobutyric acid. This is the beta alanine component of pantothenic acid. Pantothenic acid is the vitamin complex and pyrimidine metabolism. During the pyrimidine, beta amino isobutyric is one of the end product, and alpha amino butyric acid is a neurotransmitter produced from glutamic acid. Already we have seen the glutamic acid. So the taurine and gamma aminolevican intermediate in human and found in association respectively. These are non-alpha amino acids. New amino acids. So in addition to 20 L amino acids that take part in protein synthesis, recently 2 or more new amino acids are described. They are: one is the 21st amino acid, the selenocysteine, and 22nd the pyrrolysine. And properties of amino acids. What are properties? The physical properties. What are the properties of the amino acids here? See, one is the solubility and melting point and taste. And monosodium glutamate is nothing but the Ajinomoto. I will discuss these things only one by one. The solubility is nothing but soluble in water, insoluble. Those the amino acids are mostly soluble in water. Some of the amino acids are insoluble. The melting point mostly it is way above 200 degrees Celsius, and taste the amino acids may be sweet. Like some of the amino acids are tasteless, that is the leucine, and some amino acids bitter, arginine and isoleucine. This is the monosodium glutamate is the Ajinomoto, which is used in the fast food as a salt of glutamic acid. It is for taste, or it's to make the food is very tasty. It is employed as a flavoring agent in food industry to increase taste and flavor. So next, isomerism. In all the amino acid, in D amino acid, amino group is in the right side, while in the L amino acids, it is oriented to the left side. From the figure, you can observe that, for example, this the hydroxy group is present in the left side. This hydroxyl group in the right side. That is the D-glycerol. From viewing the structure itself, we can easily say up to there's the last asymmetric carbon atom in a molecule. We can where the hydroxy group is present right side or left side. We can say, whereas the amino acids, that is the amino group. This is the amino group which is in the asymmetric carbon atom. That's the amino group which is in the left side, that is the L-alanine, or the right side is the D-alanine. Mostly all the amino acids occur in nature are L amino acids, not D amino acids. Whereas the carbohydrates all occur in D glucose, D glucose. Whereas the amino acids occur in all in L amino acids. So what is the optical properties of amino acids? All amino acids except glycine. Already I discussed about the glycine is the simple amino acid which it contains non-asymmetric carbon atom. Due to the non-asymmetric carbon atom, no, for that reason, the amino acid are optically inactive. Whereas the other amino acids, except from glycine, all the amino acids are optically active, means that can rotate the plane polarized light. Optically active molecules contain a chiral carbon in chiral center. The two mirror images are called enantiomers. Enantiomers meaning there is a which the mirror image can be so seen here but non-superimposable. There's the mirror image can be viewed here, but it is be non-superimposable. That's why it is a having it having the optical properties. One more thing where how it exhibit the optical properties means due to the presence of asymmetric carbon atom in the amino acids. Two things you can remember how the amino acid exhibit the optical properties means it rotates the plane polarized either in the right side or in the left side. If all the amino acids rotate in the left side, that is the L amino acids, except one amino acid, that is the glycine. The glycine, it doesn't rotate the plane polarized and it does not exhibit the optical isomerism. Why it doesn't show any optical isomerism means due to the absence of asymmetric carbon atom in the glycine molecule. That's why it does not show the optical isomerism. And in optical isomerism, what you view is the molecules are mirror images and non-superimposable characters are exposed by these amino acids. And due to that, due to having that asymmetric carbon atom. And L and D configuration, this is the dextro rotatory plus rotate plane right clockwise manner, and lever rotatory that rotate the plane polarized counterclockwise in the against. This is the L isomer. L amino acids can exist D or L, and I said about all the naturally occurring amino acids are L isomers. That is the L amino acids. This is the alanine. For example, if we take the alanine, this amino group is present in the left side. And next very important property is the absorption of UV light by aromatic amino acids. So therefore, I said the 20 standard amino acids, glycine, alanine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, so far is going. In this aromatic, the classification we had discussed in the classification, there's the aromatic amino acids like tyrosine, tryptophan, and phenylalanine. These amino acids are having the ability to absorb the UV light at 280 nanometer. So these are the three amino acids. One is the tyrosine and tryptophan and phenylalanine having the more, where the tryptophan is the more absorption than the tyrosine, and tyrosine is more absorption than the phenylalanine. These three amino acids having the capability to absorb the light at 260 nanometer. 280 nanometer. And next we just go to the topic as ionic properties of amino acids. So amino acids containing acidic and basic group. Already we had discussed a lot in earlier. There's amino group and carboxyl group. So amino acids are usually ionized at physiological pH. There's a at a physiological pH means there's a homeostatic pH. It is they exist as ionized nature. So therefore, amino acids have amphoteric properties. So how would you reveal that amino acids can have amphoteric nature? So if you see in acidic medium, the amino acid is positively charged. If you this amino acid added to the acidic medium or the agent acid is added to this amino acid, what it gives means proton acceptor. It accepts the protons. It accepts the proton and becomes the positive ions. That is the cation. So that in acidic medium, the amino acid acts as a positive charge. So it behaves as base. It behaves as base. Next, if you see the next reaction in alkaline medium, if sodium hydroxide or base you are adding to this amino acid, what happened? It forms a negative. It will be proton donor. It donates this proton. It donates the proton from amino group to form to make the water molecule. So it becomes fully negatively charged. That is the acidic in nature. So that's why it is an amphoteric. Means both role it has. That is either it acts as acid or base corresponding to the agent what you are adding to the amino acid. In which medium does the amino acid is exist, whether in acidic medium it shows base nature, in basic medium it shows acid nature. So that's why two natures can exhibit by one amino acid. That's why it is an amphoteric or ampholytes property of amino acids. So this is the example I seen here. At low pH it protonated, at high pH it was. So in between this molecule which contain the negative ions and positive ions are equal. That's why it is the this pH is called isoelectric pH or neutral pH. We will discuss what is isoelectric pH and zwitterion. Zwitterion, although due to the presence of groups like acid or base, that's why these amino acids can also exhibit as zwitterions. Because how you can see there's a zwitterion means the amino group and in ionized form. This amino group and carboxyl group in ionized form. That type or that nature is called zwitterion. So it carries both positive as well as negative ions in the same molecule itself. That is hybrid molecule or zwitterions. So more properly written as zwitterion, it both the amino and carboxyl undergo ionization to occur. So when did it occur ionization? At physiological pH at 7.4, a zwitterion forms. Both positive and negative charges are in equal. So overall charge is become neutral. So that is the ionic form. That ionic form is called the zwitterionic form. So due to this zwitterion, the amino acid exhibit as amphoteric nature. So due to this carboxyl and amino group, the amino acids acts as amphoteric in nature. What about the isoelectric pH or pI? At certain pH, or the specific for each amino acid, the amino acid can exist in the dipolar form or fully ionized with no net electric charge. So the characteristic pH at which the net electric charge is zero is called isoelectric point. At a specific point or at a specific pH, the amino acid exists as zwitterion. That pH or that point is called the isoelectric point or isoelectric pH. That is called the PI. And isoelectric point this we represent by schematically at the low pH isoelectric point becomes cation. It becomes the neutral, that is the at physiologic pH it becomes the both ions, positive ions as well as the negative ions, as the it's called the zwitterion or electrically neutral. Whereas the pH above 7, above the neutral, that's the base medium, it becomes anion. Excuse me. The isoelectric point is the pH at which an amino acid is electrically neutral. And what about the titration curve of glycine? From the titration curve of glycine, if you take how you can titrate, these two regions are buffer regions where had the pH is increasing from from increasing step by step, gradually we are increasing at the at a midpoint, that is the pi isoelectric point. It gives the value 5.97, and the lower pH 2.3 and the higher pH is 9.60. So amino acids undergo side chains such as glycine have two pK values. One pK is 2.3 and another pK value is 9.6. Due to the this pK value is due to the alpha carboxyl group. This pK is giving the due to the amino group. As buffers prevent change in pH, while we are adding this buffers, this it will maintain the same pH. So pK and pH at which 50% of molecules are in cation form, and pK2 is the pH 50% molecules are anion. Another 50 are present in the zwitterions. So between these two, there is a midpoint. There's a pK1 plus pK2 by divided by 2. It gives a value. This is the isoelectric point. The amino acid which having the isoelectric point in the region. There's the chemical properties. What are the chemical properties we have seen so far means, we are going to see here means reactions of amino acids, reactions due to amino group, reactions due to carboxyl group, reactions due to side chain, and reactions due to both amino as well as carboxyl group. So reactions with alkali, reactions due to, here we are first, what the reactions means, reaction due to carboxyl group, it reacts with the sodium hydroxide, it forms a salt, and esterification, it reacts with the alcohol, ethyl alcohol to form ethyl ester alpha amino acid. This is the decarboxylation, means the removing the carbon dioxide, it forms an amino group. Reactions with ammonia, where the carboxyl group of dicarboxyl amino acid react ammonia to form amide, asparagine and glutamine. So this amino group is reacted to the acid group of aspartic acid and glutamic acid to form asparagine and glutamine, and that it is called amide containing amino acids. These two amino acids are acidic, it becomes to amide containing amino acids, the reaction with ammonia. And reactions due to NH2 amino group. So the reaction with the mineral acid, the same itself HCl, it to form a mineral acid as acid salts. Reaction with the formaldehyde, this is one of the most important reaction. This is given the Sorensen formaldehyde titration method. This reaction is most important during the experiment or during the volumetric estimation of glycine. How could you estimate the amino acid? So during the estimation of glycine or any amino acid, we have to add the formaldehyde to that amino acid. Otherwise, it won't. There is the cross reaction or makes the protons can diffuse from the amino group. We can't easily determine the accuracy value of the carboxyl group of the protons to make a solution from volumetric solutions. When the amino acid reacts with two molecules of formaldehyde, it forms dimethyl derivative. So what it shows here means this reaction, this formaldehyde group is suppressed the amino group. This will be suppressed the like formation of N-dimethyl. So no protons are be transferred or no protons will be mobilized from amino group, where the only exposure of the carboxyl group only exposed, we can be easily estimate by against the sodium hydroxide or base, strong base, can easily estimate the amount of glycine or any amino acid in the solution. So this is one of the most important reaction. And reaction with benzaldehyde, it gives the Schiff's base to form. And reaction with nitrous acid. Nitrous acid is nothing but the laughing gas. It otherwise is reaction is called Van-Skley reaction. What is the use of this reaction? What is the significant role of this reaction? Means it gives to liberate the nitrogen gas, where this nitrogen can be estimated from an amino acid, because the amino acid which contain the amino group, how much of nitrogen is present in each amino acid, we can be determined by this reaction, by the Van-Skley reaction. You can easily determine the nitrogen groups in the amino acids. And reaction with the Sanger and Dancel, these two reactions are nothing but to determine the amino acid sequence, like in N-terminal end of the amino acids. What do you mean N-terminal amino acids? The amino acid can be easily determined by the one is the Sanger's reagent is 1-fluoro-2,4-dinitrobenzene, and Dancel chloride means dimethyl amino naphtha sulfonyl chloride. This is one of the another reagent to form. It forms the things. It forms two formulas. Form to derivative as Dancel derivative and DNB amino acid derivative. So it forms a yellow color. It is a fluorescent color. We can from this reactions we can easily determine the amino acid from the N terminal end. Reaction with acylating reagents. When the amino acids react with acid chloride and acidic anhydride in alkaline, it gives the phthalate amino acid is the acylation reaction and formation of carbamino compound. One of the most important reaction which takes place in our body system, that is the carbon dioxide binds to alpha amino acid on the globin chain of the hemoglobin. The RBC which carries the carbon dioxide in the form to form carbamino hemoglobin. The reaction takes place at alkaline pH and serves as a mechanism for the transfer of carbon dioxide from the tissues. This reaction is mainly for to transfer the carbon dioxide from tissues to lungs, where to exhale the carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide is formed by the metabolism. These are present in the cells. So this carbon dioxide be carried by RBC, that is the hemoglobin. So hemoglobin in the form of carbamino group to carry out the carbon dioxide from the tissues to lungs. Due to amino as well as carboxyl group, this reaction which shows already we said the reaction based upon the carboxyl group, 4 reactions, and amino group based upon the amino group. Here both the groups can contribute, or both the groups are involved in the reaction due to both amino as well as carboxyl. That's here. For example, you take glycine diketopiperazine, the cyclodehydration is forms. So the cyclodehydration is formed by the one of the carboxyl group to amino, and amino to this carboxyl is formed, and this amino group has to form water molecule. So two dehydration molecules to form cyclodehydration of two amino acids with residue R1 and R2. So R1 and R2, it forms the two peptide like peptide bonds. So it's a diketopiperazine molecule. An inhydrin reaction is a very most important reaction. This is to be analyze the amino acid, whether it is present or not in a sample. If you are given the sample, the amino acid sample, the first test it should reveal that by the inhydrin reaction, it forms the purple color. From the purple color, that the sample contains the amino acid. So easily to determine the sample containing the amino acid by the reaction inhydrin reaction. So inhydrin is the agent 1,2,3 trione dihydrate. So the reaction here takes place means through this the trihydrohydrate and inhydrin can react with the alpha carbon of the first carbon of amino acids. So it leaves ammonia group and carbon dioxide gas, and it forms a aldehyde group, and this anhydrin can be reduced to is the oxygen has been leaving off. There's a reduction this takes place. So one more anhydrin plus this ammonia. If you see this ammonia group has been attached to another molecule of anhydrin, and this hydrantin means reduced anhydrin, that's hydrantin, to form a complex called Rumen's purple. This is the purple color. We can easily estimate, or we can easily know the presence of amino acid in unknown sample. And one more thing we have to be remember here, these are amino group. With those containing amino group, this gives the color purple color, whereas the immuno containing amino acid, for example the proline, it doesn't show the it doesn't give the purple color, it gives the violet color. So there is the only color in change that it gives, we can be easily know the amino acids formation. And reaction with Edmonds degradation. What is the Edmonds reagent? Is nothing but phenyl isothiocyanate. This is the one of the most important reaction, because this also has been used in N-terminal region of amino acid sequences. We can determine the N-terminal region of amino acids by the phenyl isothiocyanate. It forms a complex like a phenyl thiohydroxynic acid and phenyl thiohydroxide. So it is the difference between Dancel and Sanger's. What is the difference here means that it forms not a complex, where it forms a complex structure, and you can easily see, you can from this reaction or from this reagent we can sequentially, orderly, in order manner what the amino acids are present in the protein molecule. Whereas the Sangus and Danciel, you can get the clear idea about the sequence or order of the amino acids. And these are the color reactions of amino acids. In the laboratory, we can see bioreaction for it has the peptide linkages. Ninhydrin means alpha amino acids is the conformity test. Also, it gives ninhydrin reaction. Xanthoprotic, the ben aromatic, it can be confirmed aromatic. Millen's reaction, it gives the due to the presence of phenolic group like tyrosine. Hopkins Cole reaction, indole ring, that is the tryptophan. Sakaguchi reaction, guanidino group like as the amino acids are arginine. Nitrobrusate reaction, sulfhydryl group, SH group, which is present the cysteine, and sulfur test, sulfhydryl group, cysteine as well as cysteine, and polystist that is confirm the imidazole ring, that is the histidine amino acid, Follin coicalcho test, that is the phenolic group, is the OH group is present in the tyrosine. Next, we will move on to the functions of amino acids because already I said the amino acids are the ingredients or the building blocks of the protein molecule. That's why it is a monomer units from which long polypeptide chains synthesize, and those amino acids join through a peptide bond. L-amino acids and the derivatives participate in cellular functions like biosynthesis of porphyrins, purines. Porphyrins, which is present in hemoglobin. Purines are genetic materials which contains the purine, adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, pyrimidines, and urea formation. So these are the amino acids are the responsible to form in the biosynthesis protein as well as nerve transmission. And shorter polymers of amino acids called polypeptide. So some of the polypeptides having the roles in hormones and hormone releasing factors, neurotransmitters, and some of the amino acids having the role in formation of niacin, serotonin, melatonin are synthesized from tryptophan. These amino acids to form niacin is the vitamin B6, and serotonin is the neurotransmitter, and melatonin the pigment for it differentiate between the humans, the black color and white, gray, or some to differentiate the melatonin. And melanin, thyroid hormone, and GABA is the neurotransmitter is synthesized from glutamic acid, and nitric oxide, a smooth muscle relaxant, is synthesized from arginine. The amino acid is nitric oxide is the smooth muscle relaxant. So it is synthesized from arginine, and some of the amino acids are precursors molecule like heme, creatine, porphyrins, purines, and pyrimidines. So these are the amino acids, and thank you for listening patiently. I hope this will give a very good idea to understand what the amino acids. Thank you.